Everybody be on your best behavior. It's recording. Okay. Hold on just a second, y'all, so I can get it where they can take over for you.
Okay, thanks, Christina, and thank you all for joining us here and taking a few minutes out. And yeah, with our presentation, Ginger and I really want to kind of our objectives is really provide some basic framework for this segment, give some information to how it's structured and the different types of facilities you may encounter, and then just provide, being a smaller group, a kind of an easier, safer environment to kind of sort of clear the table of any questions you may have, regarding this segment. So, Ginger will first kind of walk you through kind of a macro overview of the segment. Then I'll explain some different basic types of the different facilities. We'll share some websites for references, and then kind of, again, talk about, who our customers are and some talking points for those customers. And then at that point, as Christina mentioned, we'll open it up to some questions. So with that said, Ginger, take it away.
Sure. Okay, so, like we were talking about, Robert Shearler and I did this presentation at GBC, but Bob and I have since added to it and made a few changes and addressed some of the questions or comments that some of you guys had when we did this, and it never hurts to go over some of the information again and again and again. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start, let me see here, there you go, with this slide. And just to give you a little point of reference, in the next 30 years, as our baby boomers get older, this industry is going to just skyrocket. It already has started, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. So the varying amount of facilities, the varying types of facilities are going to be really hard to get a handle around right at the beginning. So this slide, I just want to show you, if you're looking at this, if you kind of take a look and see, if there's any of these that aren't senior living properties, and I will tell you they are all senior living properties. The first one looks very corporate. It's on the water, and you think about the people who have been working past retirement age, this is perfect for them. They're used to corporate. They didn't have a life really past corporate, so this fits that kind of personality quite well. And then you've got the one to the right of that, which is more like a home type of property with a lot of green space, and then the one on the bottom left is more that kind of ski lodge type of feel where someone maybe wants a different look than what they have, maybe in Florida or something like that. And then the one to the bottom right has got a kind of mission feel. It's very hospitality looking. They are all so completely different. So to Christina's point earlier, this is not a one-size-fits-all market segment, and we're going to talk about the different types shortly. But I'm going to give you just a quick, before Bob talks to you about the different types of properties, I'm going to talk to you about some of the things inside these properties that are, I don't like the word trends, but they're kind of trends that they're going to stick around for a while. So the first one is affluent influence, and we have a lot of people that will say, oh, they want a hospitality look. And we've had our senior living design symposiums, and we stay in touch with a lot of the designers, and they're trying to get away from the idea that these are hospitality properties. They're wanting these to be more sanctuaries, places where people want to go and be in a surrounding or an environment that is nicer and different than what they have had throughout their life. So not really hospitality, but more sanctuary, I guess. And you're going to find in those sanctuaries, many of these properties, whether they're brand new construction or whether they're existing properties that maybe they renovate an area or they add on, fitness is huge. So you're going to find spaces where fitness, as far as physical fitness and even emotional and mental fitness is very important. So you're going to have indoor pools, yoga rooms. You're going to have outside instructors coming in to give salsa lessons or that type of thing. And then the next one is personal enrichment. This is very big too. Hobbies, keeping the mind and the hands occupied as we grow older is so important. So you're going to have a lot of art classes, woodworking. Sometimes these get put in galleries within the community so that they can feel like they've contributed to the space, to the public space. They're going to, again, have local artists come in and teach classes, and which that ties them back to their local community, which is very important. You're going to have spa services. This is huge. Physical wellness, that mental wellness, that feeling of well-being. So you're going to have a lot of massage rooms happening, facials, just a way to feel better about themselves sometimes, going to a spa. And then social activities. This is the one that always cracks me up because, you just don't think of the pub being in a senior living facility, but pubs, game rooms, media rooms, theaters to go see movies, that type of thing. Those are all cropping up in these. I don't know of any new construction that doesn't have these areas. And then fine dining, and this is a big one. Existing properties usually have 1 to 2 dining areas. You have choices. A lot of the newer properties have at least 3. You'll have a very fine dining area, and then your mid-level dining, and then back to your kind of pub-style dining. Again, as far as bringing people from the outside in, a lot of these facilities are connecting with local restaurants and chefs and having guest chefs. They may come in once a week or once a month, or they may come in for a whole week at one point, and in that case, that's a very exciting thing for these people that maybe can't get out to go to the restaurant that they used to love. They're bringing these chefs in. So dining is very important in these facilities. Think about you or I, if we have our parent going to a facility or one of us is going to a facility, I would like to know that I'm going to be fed well. So this is very important in these spaces, and you'll see quite a few dining options in the floor plans. So that just gives you a little bit, and as you've looked at some of those spaces, you can start to think about some of the different products that we have that will go in those. But to get a little more in-depth, Bob's going to go through the different types of facilities, and you'll see how those spaces can and will fit in those facilities. So take it away, Bob.
Yeah, thank you, Ginger. And really from a business perspective, anytime you have a growing industry like this, when this segment and the population growth and what's going into it, you see bigger companies getting involved. Some of these, and these projects that are getting big. And so with that, you're seeing with these different amenities, changing that stereotype of what, talk about what a senior living facility is. And not only to the residents, but to people that are helping making decisions, like the kids, for mom and dad, where they're going to go. And so, these different types of restaurants and these nice spas, what are these owners, or in some of these newer, bigger developments, they're wanting to capture those dollars. They don't want those dollars to go off campus, if you will. So, whether the daughter may pick up mom previously and maybe take her off somewhere else across town into a great spot to have an experience. They want to keep that there now and kind of break down those barriers and keep that revenue generation. They also want maybe someone to come in and dine at the restaurant. So it's just a different mindset, different pendulum, if you will, in that industry. So you see that, and that's influencing design and types of products that are putting into these spaces. So just keep that in mind and know that dynamic is out there, because you'll see, again, as we get into it later, projects all over the board as far as the different levels. So, but kind of diving into the different types of senior living, listed on your screen there is some different types of facilities that you'll commonly hear. And they all have a little bit different characteristics too. And here we'll have them listed: the independent living, assisted living, long-term care, Alzheimer's, respite. And then the last two can really be a combination of all the above. Is continuing care retirement community, university-based retirement community. So we'll go in and take a little deeper dive and kind of breaking down those different ones. So independent living, you may other terms you may hear in the marketplace that can cue you off to the type of property is retirement communities, retirement villages, or senior apartments. And the independent living communities cater to seniors who are capable of unassisted daily living and have no or just minor medical issues. These residents live fully equipped in private apartments or cottages. In addition to a variety of living options, luxury services such as spa facilities, fine dining, social outings, all those personal enrichment classes are options that are often included in these types of spaces. So again, from a practical standpoint, from ours as a supplier, there really is not much limitation from a design element, what they may use. This is really buying into a lifestyle. They're empty nesters. They may not need a big home anymore. So it's really buying into a lifestyle that they can be a part of. So there's really not much limitation. So you're going to see a lot more potentially hospitality-ish. As Ginger mentioned, a lot of people don't, while we all like to go stay at a really nice hotel, it may not feel like home after a while. And so, but again, definitely some of those influences in design can be seen in these types of spaces.
And if you look at the image right here, you're going to see, the wood flooring with the rugs. I mean, obviously, they're not too concerned with, tripping over, tile height differences from a hard surface to a soft surface. This is as you would see in a hotel or a home. Just happens to be that the people who live here don't have to worry about maintenance on the home anymore. They're just, or maybe they have started to have some physical issues and their doctor's appointments have increased more and more, but they're not ready to go, to someplace that requires a lot of medical attention. This is perfect. So this is kind of sky's the limit, as Bob said. We have several designers that do a lot of these big projects. Many of these images that you're going to see are going to be from Texas. That seems to be where the higher-end properties are being built right now. And these designers use products like stacked. Some do them in solution-dyed nylon, but stacked, a lot of cut loop kind of products are being used in these spaces.
So assisted living. Again, some others you may hear about it, assisted care community. Personal care home. Assisted living communities provide accommodation and assistance for seniors who are no longer able to safely live on their own, but do not yet require the high-level care provided by a long-term care facility. Residents live in private apartments and are supported by staff that is available 24 hours per day to provide assistance with medications, activities of daily living, meals, and housekeeping are routinely provided. Again, from a practical kind of drill it down, not too much limitation in these areas, although some of these properties may have some different wings that may have some different care that we'll later talk about. But for the general, most purposes, for the general spaces, again, you will see some of the more, a wider variety of acceptance of different types of finishes and design.
And you'll see, we've had a lot of people say, oh, they're so into Broadland, but take a look at this dining hall. This is carpet tile. More of these facilities are understanding the value of being able to pull up a tile and replace it. So carpet tile, definitely a little higher end still with assisted living. But these properties are, again, we have a load. It doesn't have to be a manor house or any of our typical senior living products. It can be just about anything for this facility as well.
So long-term care. Again, you may hear convalescence. I'm sorry, my sinuses are.
Yeah,
I get convalescent care. Sorry, I'm hoping I don't cough too much in your ears here. But and then the nursing center, skilled nursing homes. And again, long-term care facilities provide 24-hour skilled nursing care for seniors who require high level of assistance of medical care. Skilled nursing services are available from licensed nurses. Residents typically share a room and or have access to central common areas for services such as meals, social activities. Some facilities have a separate unit for Alzheimer's residents. And again, when you start getting definitely this type of care, this could mean more of a need for a moisture barrier, or the patterning or contrasting colors, considerations, definitely, in these types of facilities.
This type of facility, definitely pile height as far as dealing with our Envision product. There's a lot more roller mobility here, so definitely keeping lower pile heights, and again, to what Bob said about the contrasted patterns, that type of thing. These are going to be more textures. But if you take a look at the image, this is a project in California. A lot of times people realize that they need long-term care, but the word nursing home really scares a lot of people because they have a visual in their mind. When you look at what the future is of long-term care based on this photograph, I think it gives us all hope, and I think when you meet with some of the people that you're going to be meeting with on these projects, they're so passionate about making sure that these people are comfortable. The idea is to get them, at least, if they're wheelchair bound, get them out of their room for just a little bit into a public space and be a little socialized. This gives us all hope because this is beautiful, and it'd be great to be a part of a project like this.
Alzheimer's care. Again, you hear in the marketplace memory care or dementia care. There are numerous of housing options for people with dementia or Alzheimer's. These facilities are offer 24-hour support and structured activities to ensure the safety and quality of life of the residents. And generally, the residents live in semi-private apartments and have structured activities delivered by trained staff members. Most of these living environments have secured or locked areas to ensure no one wanders off. And I will say, when working with a customer that, again, especially an interior designer designing for an Alzheimer's care, you don't need to be the expert on this. And just we'll talk about some basic principles here, but just help follow and lead the discussion. And what I mean by that is there are a lot of different schools of thought. The people that are practicing, particularly this type of design, there are a lot of schools of thought. There's a lot of new medicine or knowledge coming out in studying Alzheimer's and dementia. And so there's a lot of details that could be involved. And so some of the ways that could again, affect us, talked about maybe moisture barrier if incontinence is a problem, but patterning. This is where, contrasting colors or using, borders or insets can really be not a good idea, but really be careful about how it is used. And again, that's a design call. That is not yours to recommend or really make the call on. The designer, the professional is going to do that. They're going to have strong opinions if they're practicing this type, and so you just kind of help lead, the way that the school of thought, if you will, that they go to. So wayfinding colors, hallways could be a part of this. So those are just some of the different items, again, for this type of care. But you don't need to feel the pressure of being an expert on Alzheimer's or dementia because the person practicing this is going to have their thoughts.
Right, and this is an area, back to having different schools of thought, this is an area where some people really utilize the floor to actually create the barriers so that they don't go to areas that they're supposed to. They found with people with Alzheimer's and dementia, that this is with the aging eye as well, but particularly with this group of people, any kind of high contrast or dark colors on the floor, they see a depth that we don't see, and so they stay away from those areas because they don't, they feel like they would fall. So this particular segment. If someone says they're doing a memory care, just ask a lot of questions, know your product, and be able to give them the solutions, but let them guide you, because design is key as far as flooring goes in this particular one. So this is one that you don't have to be the expert, but you definitely want to let them know that you understand that there's a lot of issues here. So let them guide you, as Bob said.
And we'll get some kind of open-ended questions here in a minute, but it'd be a fun call. Respite care, again, you may hear the term, short-term care. Again, respite care provides care and assistance to seniors recovering from a hospital stay that need rehabilitation as they ease back in and transition of returning home. However, as more and more seniors are choosing to age in place, these short-term residents are also becoming freestanding properties where seniors can stay temporarily while receiving proper assistance with daily activities whenever caregivers require essential time away. Again, I don't know if you've ever had to be a caregiver, you can know the strain that can be, actually caring for someone else. Obviously, you can't, you've got your rest of your day and everything else, but having to care for someone, and these types of facilities can help be a nice transition, during that time.
Yeah, you're going to find these start to pop up as new subdivisions build. You're going to find these kind of on the outskirts, because they're finding more and more just physical, mental, emotional stress from those people who are having to care for a loved one. They need a break. They need to know that they have almost, I mean, this is horrible, but almost like a daycare. You want to know that whoever is taking care of your child is qualified and is giving them a good, loving environment to be in. You want that for your parent as well, or your spouse, if there's something with your spouse. So you're going to find these really cropping up. They're going to look like homes, and you're going to start seeing them just about everywhere, kind of littered within communities, so that it makes it more of an acceptable facility for people to go to as they need care.
All right, so continuing care retirement communities. An acronym you'll hear a lot is CCRC. It can also be called retirement communities, retirement villages. And this is a full-service continuing care retirement community that offers options for all levels of care. Again, it may be all the ones we just previously mentioned could be represented here in a community. Residents secure the ability to move between the levels of care throughout the remainder of their lives. So again, a situation here is maybe a couple, a spouse may be in a different need a different level of care. This allows to be in that same kind of proximity, or as they age together, can kind of go from very independent, have your own independent home, to then as meals are needed or other assistance or care, it allows you're really just buying into a community and a lifestyle with this big kind of type of development. And again, as with any segment here, I mean, the ranges can vary as far as the fees that can, whether it be a monthly fee or just even to join to buy into.
And you're going to see, I like retirement village because I think that's really more of what these are. You're going to also see, as far as, we talked about all the different areas within these facilities, but these are the villages that you're going to start seeing outside retailers setting up shop on the property as well. So you're going to have a lot of retail. So some of these people are going to go to dinner on property from an outside brand, or they're going to be shopping from an outside brand. We actually know the designer who did this particular project, and this was an old quarry. That seems to be the trend right now, is taking quarries and using them to have a water feature as well as green space. But there's a lot of retail here. And just to add to the fees, I mentioned on the last call, here in Chattanooga, I recently had to go through this To enter this one particular property, it was $450,000 that you don't get back. You can't resell it, just to walk in the door, and then it was started about $4,000 up to like $7,000, depending on the type of care. So that's in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So you can imagine in Scottsdale or outside of Dallas or you know, in Florida, what a property like this, what that would cost. So this is not a brand new idea. This is something that's everywhere, and it encompasses every type of flooring potential that there is. So these are great projects to get involved in.
To that same note, there's also called university-based retirement community, and you know, these can be in conjunction with the university itself if it fits their mission, but also private developers, you know, close by. And again, some of the, you know, besides the assumed component of the healthcare services, you know, these give residents the luxury of, you know, access to university campus fitness centers, athletic, cultural events, and in most cases, you know, even teaching hospitals as far as the intellectual engagement. The majority of the UBRCs enable residents to enroll and audit, you know, college classes. This aspect is, you know, is crucial to keep them mentally active in order to promote a sense of purpose and stave off, you know, dementia. And again, this is just, you know, a trend that you see around, you know, college towns, university areas where, again, as there is discretionary income, time, the proximity to cultural activities. So again, it really goes back to, you know, a lifestyle that people are choosing to be. And then certainly in some cases, you know, as if there's a medical component to the university, some of the medical that is available in some of these types of communities that's thereby with all the residents, the medical residents offering. So it's just another really type of property that you will hear popping up.
It's very popular because if you think about your, you know, college days, the fun you had and the freedom, a lot of people are, you know, alumni of, you know, Georgia or, you know, whatever college, Michigan. You want to go back and you want to feel that youthfulness and be a part of that great vibe that's there again. So this is very appealing to the elderly community and keeping grounded with what the good parts of their lives were. This is back to the whole emotional wellness. And I don't know, just a little spin-off of this, I don't know if anybody has seen this on social media, but there is a big trend right now based off of this where there are properties being built off campus, and they are kind of doing the reverse. They're building the senior facility or senior community, and then they are renting out rooms to college students for a great price in a beautiful environment. And all that they ask is that the small fee of renting, and then they have to donate their time. So let's say they have to give 10 hours, 15 hours, 20 hours, whatever it is, to be a part of the senior activities, whether it's, you know, hooking them up with someone if they have a common interest, say woodworking or something, or, you know, someone wants to learn a language and you're going to get your degree in, you know, international business and you speak 2 languages. It kind of is a give and take. It helps both the student and the resident. So you'll see a lot of videos popping up. They're really great. This is really big in Europe right now, and it's taking hold here. So that university integration, and back to kind of the title of what this whole presentation is, seniors living. This is really what it's about. They're being involved with the community and integrating themselves with this whole campus life.
Okay, so the next slide we won't spend too much time on, but wanted to kind of talk and just kind of show you some names you may recognize, the top 25, you know, senior living owners by units. And quite honestly, this is somewhat of a fluid list as you know, this segment develops. Properties being bought, sold, developed can change. But nonetheless, just kind of wanted to throw those up. I know there are some strategic initiatives taking place, so if you have some of these in your territory, you've probably been contacted, and hopefully it's on your radar, being targeted these communities. But just wanted to post those. And then really, different ways, hopefully some websites that I know we've shown in the past. This is kind of a culmination of ones that I've posted, as well as Bill has sent out periodically some different websites. These next two slides kind of show those. And these will be available, afterwards. So, if you don't have these, you can have access to them. And they can provide, you can sign up for newsletters to get, tidbits of information just to kind of stay on top of, different activities within the various different websites. They kind of all maybe have a different little spin to them. It could be a great, lead resource as well.
As Bob mentioned, the newsletters, definitely go to these and sign up for the newsletters. Many of them will start out with just like quick topics that you can click on and get more involved in. But it is nice. A lot of them are very digestible. They don't go into, too in-depth unless you want to dig further. But it's great to be able to know, a lot of them will talk about trends, whether it's the trend in design or the trend in the care. But it's nice to kind of have, a little bit of that knowledge if you go into someplace. Your designer or your end user may say something, and you have that kind of reference back to you. You may not be the expert on it, but at least you have read about it or know of it. And like I said, they're really quick and easy. You don't have to spend a lot of time on them.
So we'll kind of break it down. Who is our customer? And again, certainly want to talk about the A&D component. I know this is more set up as more of an end user training, but it is a very large part of this segment. It is the A&D firms. And again, these A&D firms can be specialized that do practice just senior living. They can both be big and small. They can be, again, multidisciplinary. So maybe have a variety of different practices that are performed, at the actual firm itself. So, that'll be to kind of get in and explore, the various, A&D firms within your region. Owners and operators, obviously, different titles that you might hear, administrators, director of facilities, director of operations, director of housekeeping, or titles that you may see that could be, people of interest to talk to, at the owner or operator level. And then, residents. And again, this is kind of similar to maybe if you're in a major metropolitan area and you have, high-rises, condominiums, multifamily opportunities. A lot of those, they'll have a board of residents or the residents themselves or, different family members, represented that could have a stake in this. So again, just different titles or cues to be alert to when pursuing this segment. But really kind of to drill down, and again, these are just some leading questions. Again, calling on A&D, I think the important thing here is just to get them talking and sharing about the project. Now, as we discussed earlier, a lot of these people are passionate about what they do. They've chosen to go into this type of practice. It's almost like a calling. So get the conversation going with open-ended questions and just simply listen and learn, okay? So, for example, some open-ended questions may go like, who is the property's target market? A reply could go many different directions, maybe from a budget level to type of care. Properties can target different prospects. And what this may mean is, I'm going to take a hotel example. We all maybe like to stay in a Ritz-Carlton, but however, the budget may not always, allow for that. Or that may not be the feel you want. And so this segment is no different. You'll see, we've seen some very high-end products, but there are a lot of different price ranges, service care levels. So those are all going to range. So thus what that means to us is the types of finishes they use. So again, that's just something that to kind of keep in mind, to kind of get the dialogue going, to help get a feel for the designer and then the project at hand. So what is the level of care of the residents? Again, we've talked about some of those different segments. What spaces are you looking to design? Again, a lot of these areas, there's a lot of different activity takes place in these facilities. So whether it be administrative, there's a lot of staff, but there's also, all the different care. So great leading question. What is the design of the space? Again, are we talking, is it more traditional? Is it transitional? Is it contemporary? What are the staff areas like? Again, we talked about, back of house, administrative areas, kind of thinking down the line, do those areas offer, cost averaging opportunities to maximize the revenue producing or the public visible spaces? Again, all these properties have different constituents that they're trying to please, whether it be, a large, maybe an investment group, or maybe, they're trying to get please a younger generation for where mom and dad is going to go, or the residents themselves. So understanding there where they can maybe get a bang for the buck and accomplish those different goals. Graham, what types of activities or concerns for the occupants of the space? Again, there are lots of different schools of thoughts in this segment. So, you can kind of probe and kind of understand of where someone's coming from and find out what's important to them. And so this is kind of some of the meaning behind this. And so then allows us to position our products and our features in an appropriate manner. Again, what are the objectives for the space? Are there inspirations, images that kind of get the feel and learn about it? So I say all this to just, again, allow us to use your whole arsenal that we have. So, we have some senior living collections. We've talked about that before, but let's not be limited to that. These properties vary greatly. So there's different needs, there's different visuals. So let's not be limited to our, quote-unquote senior living collections there. And again, Ginger mentioned it, earlier. Sometimes this can even, if we're just going to try to plug something in as a senior living, this works for some people, but it doesn't work for others. I think the most specifiers do this. They want to see us as an expert in floor covering, as a consultant there. They want us to know our products and then how we fit in, to their work. We don't have to be an expert on a necessary design. We need to be able to follow a conversation, be in there, understand where they're coming from, be able to give them the access to all the capabilities that we have. So,
yes, I did healthcare design for many years in a other lifetime, and I just want to tell you, you don't have to walk in, like Barbara said, you don't have to be the expert on senior living or healthcare. You just have to be the expert on your product, which you already are. So go in there, ask these questions, find out what the issues are, and then give them a solution. These people want a partner. These are passionate people who want to do beautiful work, but they also want to make the life of these residents better. These people really care about their customer and the end user. So they want a partner in what they do, and they want someone they can count on. Don't go in there and pretend that you know everything about senior living. They don't want you to. Go in, ask questions, let them teach you. They want to be able to teach you their philosophy so that you can come back and give them options and solutions for what they do. Once you do that, you will have, these people are so loyal that you will have a customer for life. This is just a very unique market segment, and the people who design or the people who run these facilities or these communities are wanting to just really make this better and evolve this market segment even more than it has been, because we did come from a place that wasn't so great as far as looking at all of the wellness, from emotional and physical wellness to mental wellness. They're wanting to really push this forward. So become their partner, listen, ask these questions that Bob has given you, and just really have a conversation. And don't be scared to let them be your teacher. They will share, they want to share all of their information. So to have your ears open and just listen to what they say is crucial.
So as we say, you know, it's an old cliche, but you know, these people, the people we call them, they want to buy, all right, but they may not want to be sold to. So take that pressure off in that regards, and you know, open those, listen, and then just you know, provide the path. So again, you know, there's so much in the arsenal. We're greatly, you know, poised to take advantages. You know, if they don't like you know, anything that we have, remember our flexibilities and what we can do to, you know, tweak a product, whether it be a color, whether it be a scale, and just continue that dialogue, you know, that conversation, and find what is their inspiration. They've got an idea of probably where they want to go, find out what inspires them, and look for opportunities and to find that success. And as we looked at in a previous introduction of a product, we looked, for example, to talk about this is, you know, a floor plan. You know, again, within this space, we may not, you know, here is featured the lobby, the corridor, you know, some of those public spaces. We may not always have the right look that they're looking for, okay? Maybe the property is going an Axminster route if it's a very high end. Well, and they're set, we may not have a look for that, okay? Well, how about an exercise activity, you know, wellness area? Okay, or those types of property, you know, types of space, okay? Get them, you know, what activities are going to take place there, and then we can position the appropriate product and talk about that, you know, for those types of spaces. So, you know, moving forward.
Just to back up for just a second for the exercise spaces, when we do our senior living symposiums, we have had a lot of designers come to those and say, you know, we weren't really sure how to use kinetics in our spaces because we're so used to broadloom, or we're so used to this type of carpet or hard surface. So a lot of these people started out taking kinetics and putting it in their exercise activity areas. It's a great place to start. Say, okay, well, let me just tackle, if you don't have anything else, then let me tackle your exercise area, because this is the perfect product for that, or your activity area, this is perfect for product for that. And this is a great way to get started within a bigger facility.
Offices, back of house. So again, these facilities have a lot of staff. They have offices. They have gathering spaces. You know, there's sales offices. And so there's a lot of different types of spaces. You know, we have great products for the options. And maybe looking more or even a corporate look in these types of spaces. So again, at different price points. We talked about cost averaging. So really the idea here is to find success, look for ways you can fit into, and anytime you want to kind of create good habits here and get a specifier in the mindset of looking at your products, thinking about you, and then, you know, those bigger projects, you know, as relationships build, as opportunities come, you'll be in a position to, you know, take advantage of that. So if somebody's not, you know, at the point of wanting to do a color variation, or, you know, a scale variation, or custom, maybe they're not there yet. Well, get in these smaller spaces, you're going to be in position to get that business down the road. So this is all about, you know, again, being a resource and putting you in position to win. Again, very relationship oriented, be some very fun business. So the end user, okay, just want to kind of talk about some items there, kind of put on a different cap a little bit. Again, I don't want to sound cold, but I mean, this is more of a real estate deal. They want units occupied and generating revenue. So we need to maybe think a little bit, you know, possibly a little bit more operational with our product. So cost may be more of a driver. You know, they may be motivated on, you know, how it affects the bottom line, whether it may be a renovation type project. I mean, they're having to live within some sort of budget there, and you know, the revenue. Maintenance, again, maintenance staff, they got to keep it. How easy is it to maintain? And again, how it helps overall experience of the residents. Again, from a sales standpoint, they're obviously worried about safety. Again, very important. Again, they're, the care of the residents. And then clean looking. Again, they're attracting new residents, and maybe their kids that are helping mom and dad decide. So appearance is important. So safety and cleanliness. Those are items and things. And so we position our products with that in mind. And all the I just kind of mentioned a practical example. We have tile tabs. We'll kind of think ahead. Once used, tile tabs, they're great for renovations. As residents, they have, varied sleep patterns within these properties. And so think about it. It's a quiet process. It's less disturbance. And there's no glue smell. Again, that's going through the experience. That's, living conditions. So that's just a small practical example of the many things that we can do and provide and talk about, to an end user. So, I want to turn this back over to Christina to give her the control here. Open up to, any questions.
Make sure you guys tap your screen to unmute if you've got questions, please. No questions?
Wow, our early birds this morning had.
Yeah.
I have a question, Christina.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so there is a group headquartered out of Memphis called Covenant Dove. I'm having a hard time finding the person to talk to. They have a regional facilities person that position isn't filled right now. So would you guys have any ideas on how I could get that conversation started and who else I might be able to ask for?
Well, I guess is this? I'm not familiar right offhand. Are they headquartered there out of?
They're headquartered out of Memphis. I believe they are in 11 states. They own facilities in 11 different states. So they have regional people over the facilities, but then they also have a regional facilities person who handles this kind of thing, but that position is empty right now.
Mm-hmm. There's a couple of things that they may not be, quite honestly, that may be more of a focus than maybe the floor coverings at the time, but I think you can keep maybe digging and trying to find their structure. Have you had chance just to go by their office and just, I know it's old school, but sometimes it's amazing what just walking in and saying, hey, here's who I am, here's what I do, this is what I mentioned, I know this, is there someone else,
Did you ask, are they working with any kind of, because a lot of, their size have a designer of some sort. They would be working with an A&D firm of some sort.
Okay.
Have you asked that question if they're using anybody for that?
I did not. I stopped in. I've known of them, and I know nurses who work for them. And so I went in and I just kind of asked at the front desk. I told them who I was, and kind of asking for a facilities manager or somebody who might have something to do with that. And that's when they told me they didn't have anyone in that position. And that's kind of where the conversation ended. At that point, I didn't really know where else to go with that because they obviously didn't know.
It's Coventry Dove, is that what you said?
Covenant Dove.
Covenant Dove. There's probably, you could probably, from a prospecting standpoint, maybe somebody in their business development.
Okay.
They may not be the right person, but they may know the right to steer you in the right direction. They probably got their more sales hat on in development, looking for properties out there, but that just could be a different avenue. They also may know the A&D firms that they do have relationships with. So, business development could be a side door, if you will.
And everyone has they may call it a relations or a marketing department of some sort, even in smaller places, that they would know who they're working with because they would do some sort of partnering as far as photography or that type of thing for their website. So that is kind of and they are usually very open to sharing information, those people in those departments. So it's kind of a weird way around it, but, if you just kind of call them and just say, I've been trying to find out.
In the interim.
Yeah, exactly. They're usually pretty free with their information.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, good luck.
Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you all for your time this morning. Just somebody beeping in.
Hey, yeah, I have one question. My screen crapped out. But we were talking about moisture barrier backing, and I know that a lot of my firms are going more towards modular for some of the senior living facilities, especially the more hospitality-like ones. Is our Nexus backing considered a moisture barrier, or could we add that?
Do you want to guess that one?
Yeah, I think, a vinyl backing is going to be a barrier. I think it's just understanding what is driving that decision, what they want. And if somebody's wanting a moisture barrier, that certainly could I'm getting tongue-tied here. Some people will say, no, it's not a moisture barrier because there's a seam depending on the size of your tile. Other folks, that suffices. That's what they want. It's more about replacement, being able to clean it and replace it. So I think you just maybe.
Hey, I have a quick question. Isn't the moisture barrier to keep liquids from getting to that backing and just kind of setting up residents in it? Is that what it's really for? So that they can clean it out, and if we have vinyl back, then obviously, like you said, you can clean it out really good or replace it if need be.
Moisture barrier came from kind of two ways. When senior living design started, they were healthcare designers who were designing for senior living. Okay, now everybody designs for senior living. But they were used to welding rods and chemical welding, sheet vinyl, and that type of thing. And then broadloom carpet came out, and they put a moisture barrier on their broadloom because there was no way of just pulling up an area and removing a tile or cleaning it or that type of thing. So I'm not saying moisture barrier is an old school, yeah, or ideal, but a lot of people say moisture barrier when they really aren't looking at, do they really need it for that space if they can pull a tile up and replace it or clean it. So it's kind of something that's just kind of trailed along with senior living, and it's just something that people, we kind of talked about this last call, they kind of just say it because they feel like, oh, we have to have a moisture barrier. It's like, well, do you really have to have a moisture barrier? Why do you feel like you have to have a moisture barrier? If you can pull a tile up, replace it, or clean it.
Yeah, I think, to that same note, I think in talking and kind of getting that conversation, I think you can follow up with the question is, wow, moisture barrier, a lot of people use that in different ways. Ask them, what do you mean by that? What do you want to accomplish? And by doing that, you kind of get a better understanding of where they're coming from and what's really important to them. We all know, goodness, when we work with designers, if somebody says an organic design or geometric design, I was amazed how many times, somebody said something and I asked, well, show me kind of what you mean by that and how much that varies, And so I think, I think we can always say, wow, we look at a lot of different people. And so just kind of have a follow-up question, kind of answer the question with the question to kind of get a better understanding of what they're needing, what's their particular issue. And I think you'll find by that you'll then be in a much better position to take it to the next step and, position, a feature or benefit of the products.
And you guys, we're right in the middle of, we've talked to a lot of senior living designers, and we're kind of at that movement toward carpet tile. It was so broadloom heavy for so long that, you know, they don't really understand the benefits of carpet tile in these spaces. So, you know, you can kind of educate them on that aspect. A lot of people will automatically say, oh, well, my end user, they're broadloom only. They don't want to do carpet tile. And, you know, give them your expertise. Say, hey, you can share with them that, you know, when you can pull the tile up, you can clean the tile, you can put it back there, you know, all the different things depending on, you know, what your adhesive system that they're using. Really kind of show them the benefits. You don't have to shove it down their throats or anything, but make those designers feel more comfortable with the functionality and the benefits of tile, because this is still a segment that is lagging behind on that front as far as moving towards carpet tile.
And I'll add, you know, again, I think our customer base from an A&D's perspective is getting much more comfortable, obviously, with tile in that application, but I do think there's still some, I think where they're getting the most pushback is some from the owners, and it's a visual. They think institutional.
Yeah, like the design is just now evolving to where carpet tile is acceptable.
Yeah, and so there's scale issues and that kind of stuff, that there's some things you can do with a broadloom that you just simply can't do with the tile at this point. So I think the biggest thing, that's where the rub, because if somebody, I mean, someone may love a look, but if they didn't know if it was carpet tile, they'd love it, but if they thought it was carpet tile, they would hate it. But it's just a visual thing. And again, that's maybe coming more so from the owners or operators that they're working with. But there still are a few holdouts, I think, in the A&D community that do have a certain school of thought that they're just kind of hung up on. So, again, I'll always encourage is really kind of find that true root behind a question, and just kind of ask one or two, sometimes more questions, you know, craftily, obviously, to get a really good understanding, to better understand where they're coming from, because it'll give you so much better, put you in such a better position to, you know, position a response. Does that help?
Yes, that does. Thank you.
Okay. I'm a long-winded answer, but
Any other questions, y'all?
Yeah, what about center? How do you say that? The scent repellent?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's.
what about it?
Right. It is, I mean, we can do it for carpet tile as well, right? Modular.
Yes, just only carpet, only Envision. Yeah, so it can go on either one. I think, what is it, 100 square yard minimum, $1 square yard upcharge, and then you quote the 5% overage.
Do you see a lot of that being, I mean, is that a knowledgeable thing throughout the design community, or is it something that maybe we should bring up?
I would say it depends on your area. If you have a rep who is pushing it, or like type similar technology, it may be. But if it's not being talked about, I would ask, how would they know about it? So again, I think that goes back to, you know, how we can be a resource to a consultant, if you will, to that specifier. And so uncovering what those issues are, and then once we find out, and I won't call where those itches, where those scratches, you know, those itches are, we know where to scratch, and we can position accordingly and to fill that need.
I'm going to tell you, if I were in y'all's shoes, I would bring it up every time. Whether they're having an issue with odor or not, the idea that there could be an issue with odor, I think really strikes a chord with people. In the end, they may not specify it with Centere, but I think the fact that whether they never use it, the fact that they know it's there and it's offered, to me, I think is important. It's nice to have in your bag of tricks, and I think if it were me and I was going to senior living, I would bring it up every time. Just, you know, and also this is available with Centere, and if someone doesn't know about it, it gives you just another chance to talk about it. Again, they may never use it, but they'll associate the fact that you have it with, you know, being able to specify your product.
And I think it gives you guys a competitive edge because, like Bob alluded to, there are competitors who have an option. It's obviously not called Centure, that's our branded name, but I would guarantee 95% of them never sell it, never mention it. And so if you're the person who is the resource and you're discussing Centure or you're discussing adding the antimicrobial and the others aren't, you may get the business just because you mentioned those two items. So I think it definitely gives you guys a competitive advantage.
And I think that just from an information standpoint, certainly there's a lot of different avenues that designers, specifiers, you know, reach out and get information from. But at the end of the day, they rely on their reps, where they have relationships with. And so we want to let them, I mean, we want to control that message and, you know, be that relationship and be that consultant, you know, to them. So it is incumbent up to us to deliver that message. Tell them what you want them to know.
Good question, Carrie. Any other questions? All right. Well, I appreciate y'all's engagement and your time this morning. I think the most important part is just to make sure that you put on your listening ears like you're in preschool and you ask the questions and gain knowledge before you can offer what the appropriate solution is. And just, you know, get in the habit of asking, you know, what are you trying to achieve? Like Bob mentioned earlier, where is this going in your space? You know, you may be going thinking rooms carpet or rooms kinetics, and they're actually thinking nursing corridors or nursing stations or fitness centers. So by not asking that question, you've made a lot of assumptions that could be incorrect. So just, you know, ask the questions. Also understand that you don't have to be a, I guess, a knowledge house, if you will. You don't have to be the authority on this. We've got Bob and Ginger to support you. And so come back with any questions that you've got to give yourself a little bit more arsenal to, you know, beat the competition. But that's it from us. And I hope that y'all have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.